Good afternoon, all. Our team of the fortnight is preparing for the digital world, particularly focusing on Internet Safety Day on the 8th of February 2022. So our assembly will focus on this. So the first thing is the main focus is will be on social media online presence, and just want you to think of it for a second. What is social media, and what part does this play in online identity? My next question is, who are you on social media? Are you able to identify the self-image you are portraying? How real is this? And why are you putting out this image?
There's a lot of promoting like self-love and positivity, but sometimes that can turn into more of just boasting or showing off. You go on social media and everyone's posed and thin and pretty, and it's something that definitely gets to you. You're behind your screen, it's not you, so I don't want to post anything that's like too goofy or sort of vulnerable to who I am.
So when you're online, you have this perfect, unrealistic image of yourself. I think that a lot of the pressure of being a teenager, regardless of who you are, is putting an image out there of yourself that societally is more accepted and more well received.
People started making spam accounts or second accounts or finstas. They didn't have to think about the quality of the pictures or the lighting or how much editing had been done to that photo.
I wouldn't say it's a bad thing, but it's definitely something that's a part of social media, and it's just going to keep growing.
I think there is a lot of pressure to present a version of yourself that's close to perfect. I would say most of that pressure comes from myself and me wanting to look a certain way and present myself a certain way.
You're able to pick and choose what people see. But if you are constantly displaying yourself as always happy, it can create a lot of anxiety and depression, just a lot of stress coming from, okay, how am I going to display myself online, and how am I going to display my online self in the real world?
So my question is anybody real online at all? Why do social media influencers act the way they do? We need to know that all social media influencers have a purpose for their self-identity, mainly advertising and revenue generation, either through their audience or companies paying them to promote a product or project.
I spend a lot of time being really careful about what I post on my main account, mostly because there's people that I don't know that well who are going to see it. My spam account, however, is just a bunch of really terrible pictures of me.
It's okay to play a little game of pretend to, show off, impress your friends.
I'm always thinking in my mind, for validation from other people. At the same time, I know that none of that is really work.
The next person I would like to introduce you is Aurelia Torkington. She's a social media influencer and art student. When I was watching an interview from her, she mentioned that heavy use of social media can make you, as young teenagers, 66% more depressed, and 47% of teens say they are addicted to their phones. However, experiences on social media don't have to be always negative, it can be positive as well.
When I was in year 7 and 8, there was a really harmful culture at my school surrounding self-harm that was primarily promoted through social media. My Instagram was just following self-harm accounts and Thinspo and the cool popular girls at school, which, as you might imagine, was not great for my mental health. But on top of that, when I went to our school guidance counselor for help, he told me to spend less time on my phone, and he gave me a happy pebble, which I could channel my positive thoughts into. And when I felt down, I could rub it, and it would make me feel better. needless to say, not very effective. So at the end of 2014, I went off the social media grid and I started homeschooling. Now that was effective. I met my first girlfriend at a homeschooler's drama class, and she was someone quite involved with Instagram. She was really cool and aesthetic and everything I wanted to be, and she showed me a side of the internet that I had never seen before. I started sharing my art online and following other artists. I saw other cultures, and I learned about things that I never would have known otherwise. It was like
So I would like to share with you 12 social media online safety tips, which feel free to make notes of it. So at the end, feel free to pause the video for a minute. Don't accept friend requests from strangers, please. Never share your personal information with people you don't know. Don't share embarrassing photos or videos of others online. Never send naked pictures of yourself to others. Create a positive online reputation. Limit your screen time. We know really well social media can be addictive. Block online bullies. Report inappropriate content. Only use apps which you are old enough to use. Always secure all your social media profiles with password, please. Ask parents to set up parental control for social media. And always talk to your trusted adult if social media is making you unhappy. And I would like to talk about online safety, and I have a really amazing video about screen grabs. But before, just would like to share with you these few questions which we will talk about this after the video. So consider your online presence. What impression do you think your friends have of you from your online identity? What can you do to build a positive online reputation? When posting online, how far into the future do you think about? Do you consider how the post will be received tonight, tomorrow, next week, next year? How can seeing a post out of context affect the way it is interpreted? What advice would you give to a friend whose reputation had been damaged by their online presence?
All right, you're unique, you lot, Generation Z. That's anyone born between the late 1990s and the early 2010s. You're unique for lots of reasons, but the reason I meant is that you're the first generation ever to be born into a completely digital world. The internet, smartphones, virtual reality, you've never known a time that it didn't exist. The generation before you, your parents, older family members, your teachers, whoever, they were probably well into their teens before Google was even a thing. And in one way, that gives your generation an incredible opportunity. I mean, the connectedness of the world now, the wealth of information that's out there. Plus, Netflix. But the other side of the coin is that your lives are being recorded and chronicled in a way that your parents never had to deal with. Baby pictures, embarrassing school photos, fashion disasters. Everybody's got them, but your parents' ones, they're tucked away in a shoebox somewhere, or saved in a folder that they've not opened for years. Yours, though, they'll be on your friends' and family's social media timeline somewhere. They probably weren't cringy at all back in the day, but time moves on and people grow, fashions change. They didn't put that stuff online specifically to embarrass you years later. They were just excited about documenting your life. But that's the drawback to living in a digital world. What goes online, it stays online. Everybody makes mistakes growing up. That's pretty much how growing up works. But anything embarrassing your parents did when they were teenagers, maybe the odd photo of it has survived, maybe a few people who were there, they might remember it, but otherwise, it's gone. Any mistakes you lot make, there's a decent chance there'll be some evidence of it online, forever. And that's a scary thought, isn't it? We're already starting to see in the news celebrities being called out for tweets that they sent like 10 years ago. Time passes, but online stuff, it doesn't just go away. It can always come back to bite you. And it's not just stuff that you posted you might end up regretting. Most devices can save a screenshot in, like less than a second. So that brutal comment you made in a private WhatsApp group, somebody's got that screen grabbed there.
That view once snap you sent. View once might not be totally accurate. Yeah, Snap notifies you if it's been saved, but it's already done by then. I'm not saying that those are definitely going to end up online, but if somebody else has got a copy of them, then it's out of your hands. A personal picture or a comment taken out of context, if they did get shared, they could really damage your online reputation. And the fallout, it can last for years. Universities and potential employers, they tend to check out someone's social media presence as routine now. How a person conducts themselves online, how they behave, what kind of things they say. So just take a second before you post, before you share, especially anything that's sensitive or personal. Is there any way that this might blow up in your face later? Maybe even years later? Think back to what you were like 5 years ago, what you were into, what kind of stuff you said. It's a lot different now, right? You wouldn't really like people knowing some of that stuff now. And you'll probably feel different again in 5 years' time. So what can you do? You could get off social media. Never message anybody ever again. But that really is not solving the problem, it's just avoiding it. On social media, you can adjust your private settings so only people you know and trust see what you're posting. Even so, consider what you're putting online. Would you be happy for someone to see that pic in 5 years' time? That comment? Would you say it out loud or in public? The best solution is just to be a good digital citizen. Because it's not just the negative stuff that stays online, it's the good stuff that does too. The posts that are honest, mature, and considerate, that stuff, it impresses people. So be your best self online. Build up a digital reputation to be proud of. Good luck, take care, and enjoy it.
So just in case, let's have a look again. Those questions, feel free to pause the video and discuss these 5 questions, make notes in your book. And if you have still time left, there is another activity for you. And this additional activity, create some post that could be used on your own social media account, but with a clear focus. It will focus you on how you can portray yourself in a positive light and also how this might or could reflect on other people in a negative way. For example, students filming other students in school uniform doing things you shouldn't. Not only does this not show a good example of your own school, but also the person posting this as it could indicate the type of person who employers or FE establishments might not want. So, what is the negativity? So, pick one of the following ones, either a university or post school, sixth form career path you would like to choose, or a club or society that you would like to join. Then use the template on Canva. Your teachers will share with you the link. You should create a series of social media posts that would positively demonstrate who you are. For example, this could be a uni to study post 18 and could be images, text that show a dedicated student. Apologize, post 16. It could be a student would like to take an apprenticeship, so the post could talk about your hobbies that relate to this. It could be a student that would like to join a sporting team as a hobby and what posts you could use to demonstrate who you are. When you finish, share this on Google Classroom and ask others to reflect on it and give you a feedback.